Welcome again to The Fox Says. This is going to be another rant. As I said before in the other videos, I like coming here to just unleash my frustrations and thoughts. Of course, I have other places where I'm my usual happy self, but sometimes my inner mind just wants to scream with the ignorance of some of the things I've seen or things that I personally have to deal with. So, like the title of this video suggests, I'm here to rant about women not having children. As soon as you hit your early 20s, everybody is like, when are you gonna get married and have kids? And while marriage is a beautiful thing, and I'm sure having kids is a beautiful thing, I think it is worshipped by those who enjoy it. As soon as I became an adult and I've lived a little while, I realized very early on that even though I love kids, to a point, I love entertaining them. I guess I'm a kid myself because I don't mind sitting down and playing with toys with kids and putting on shows and having our characters go through a whole story. Every kid I've ever babysat fell in love with me. It is what it is. I'm not trying to gas my head up or anything. There's nothing to gas my head up about. It is just what it is. And I fell in love with them. They're cute. But the wonderful thing is I could just go home. Not to mention, for a great part of my childhood where everybody else would be having fun, I grew up in a very strict household where I couldn't do certain things that other normal kids could do. And on top of all of that, I had to take care of my siblings from they were newborns because my parents were working and I had to stay inside and feed them and do all of that. Now, to be fair, my brothers love me to pieces. I love them to pieces. We have a great relationship now, but at first I didn't even want siblings because I figured since we have a very big age gap that my parents were gonna treat me like shit. I saw how everybody else's parents in America treated the bigger siblings like shit, let the little ones get away with everything, and I'm like, I don't want that to happen to me. I've been the only child for so long, it's going to be a nightmare. That kind of started happening, but then my mom nipped that in the bud because she was like, no, we don't want her to feel as though these kids are here to replace her. That's the worst thing you could do. But I was given all the chores and I had to take care of these kids. So my life whisked by, and by the time I went to college, I didn't really get to have any freedom to do anything. And so, to me personally, I've already raised kids. A lot of who my brothers are, based on what they said, is due to how I raised them and the advice that I gave them. I made mistakes and I did some memorable things that made them look up to me, that inspired them to become the best versions of themselves. And I'm so proud of them and I love them. I don't want to go through that again. Not to mention, I don't want to deal with having a child. Like, I just can't. There are some people who know what they want in life, especially if they're older. If they have thought about it, given it years and years of thought, and have looked at all of these things, I'm not gonna get any rest. I'm an introvert and I'm gonna have a baby crying and clinging on to me all this time. And I know that if kids love me as much as they do, my kid might love me too. Or they might not. I can be a good disciplinarian. I don't like being a disciplinarian. There's just certain things I know I don't like. I like having freedom. If me and my husband want to get up and go somewhere, like, let's go to France. We don't have to hire a babysitter. We don't have to wonder what's going to happen with the baby. We don't have to pay for the bills for the hospital. We don't have to worry about college. We're barely trying to provide for ourselves right now, starting off in life. I'm not prepared to do that with another child. So when people make the decision, and then you have these other asshole people that come up and they're like, you're going to change your mind. But kids are great. Like, they're a fucking salesman for kids. It is very rude and condescending for you to tell people who are adults and who have made a decision when you ask them whether or not they're gonna have kids and they say they don't want kids. It is rude and fucking condescending for you to tell them, nah, you'll regret it, or you're gonna wish you did, or what the fuck? Look, I get that those people mean well, but mind your own goddamn fucking business. Kids, they're not something that you just buy from Rite Aid and you can return if it's not working properly or if you have an allergic reaction. It is a lifelong commitment. They move out when they're 18 and some of them may even stay even longer than that. Sometimes there's complications and the kid comes out like a potato. It's not me trying to be mean. It is what it is, and now you're stuck with that. You love your baby, but it is a burden. I've talked to people who love their handicapped children with all their heart, but they, at their honest moments, are like, this is a burden. They're happy to just, if you take over from them, they're like, oh, like they haven't gotten a good night's rest in a while. You're human. Everyone's afraid to say what they're really thinking and really feeling. Now, there are some parents who really, they don't mind it. They like being able to do that stuff, but a lot of them that I've met, it's not really something that they saw themselves doing. It doesn't change them loving their kid, but it is what it is. They didn't see that coming either. We have a bunch of animals in our house, and if it is hard, these animals won't even talk. They're not going out getting other people pregnant. They're not asking us for lunch money. They're not going to school and starting fights. They're not carrying home homework that we have to think about when we don't want to think about that when we're trying to do everything else to provide. They're not doing all of that. And if it is stressful having them, even though I love my dogs and my other animals to pieces, I love them so much, sometimes it is frustrating. Sometimes, just for a very small segment of my imagination, I imagine for a split second what it would be like not having animals, not having all of my clothes in fur, not waking up and stepping stepping in vomit or poo because your dog had an accident in the middle of the night. I imagine those things. It doesn't make me a bad pet owner, it doesn't make me love my pets any less, but then that quickly goes out of my mind, because as soon as I start to imagine that, before I can even feel any relief of not having them in that dream or imagination, I quickly feel the emptiness of what it would be like to not have them. Those are animals. However, when I imagine all the stuff with the babies, I already know I don't want to deal with that. I already knew getting puppies, what I was gonna have to deal with. Taking them outside in the freaking cold, having them harass you every 5 minutes when you're trying to get your work done, to take you outside when they say they have to go to the bathroom, and then have them just staring at you and the birds and everything else in the freaking snow while you're in your pajamas freezing to death, carrying them upstairs, having them go back to the door and say, oh wait, I on second thought, I do have to go to the bathroom, then have them not using the bathroom. Like, there are some seriously frustrating things about having animals sometimes, but I love them. I know that when I get an animal, I'm going to have to deal with that. I am prepared to take that on because I am a human person with a working brain and critical understanding of consequences, cause, and effect. I know what I can handle, I know what I can't handle. And when I think about having a baby and I see other people with babies and having partially raised babies myself that were not mine, I know exactly why I don't want kids. Do not fucking tell me you'll change your mind or you'll do this. I already raised kids. I already raised kids in my childhood. I don't fucking want them. And you may say, well, that's because your mother put her kids on you. Maybe so. But even still then, I know that I do not want kids. There are some siblings, they raise their baby siblings, and they're like, I want my own kids because I enjoy this so much. I didn't enjoy it. The only part of it I enjoyed was entertaining them and being a big sister to them. But after that, I'm like, whoo, my husband doesn't want them either. I mean, he's more open to it because he's thought about it. But when we sat down, we were both like, man, we're both introverts. I can't take the crying and the getting up every 2 hours when they're babies and then they're all over the place and then there's toys all over the like, we both were tired talking about it. Even though we'll have fun and say, oh, our kids would be so beautiful, and my husband would say, oh, he would have my mind and the ability to build things. I'm like, or he may be creative like me, and we joke about it because I have very fluffy, curly hair, and he still has his head of hair with how old he is. He's like, man, our kids we're gonna look like some handsome kids. Our kids would look great. I think that it would be better having a girl though, because if he had a boy, he would be really short, since my husband's really short and I'm short. I'm shorter than he is, but he's below average short. So we think about that kind of stuff. We think about a lot of things. Would we be able to give our kids everything that they need, or would we be struggling? If we are just starting out our lives on the way to success and we're tackling everything, I have student debt. Like, I know I can't deal with children. I don't want to deal with children. And I hate it when you tell people that and they're like, you'll see when you're a mother, that'll change. Really, bruv? What is really horrific, and people need to stop doing this, is when you tell someone or pressure them into having children because you believe that's what they're good for. You believe that's all they're good for, and then they have children and then they fuck up those children because they were parents who knew they wouldn't be good parents or didn't want to be good parents, or they didn't want children per se. And then under your pressure, they have these kids, they abuse them, they neglect them, and then everyone's like, why did they have kids if they knew they couldn't handle them? Bitch, that's why certain people do not have kids, because they know they wouldn't handle it or they don't want to handle it. Don't you want to bring a child into the world that you actually want and you're prepared for? I get that some people have kids in their accidents, and those same people are telling me who had kids as accidents, who are pulling out their hair because they're stressed out about their kids. Oh, having kids is magical. Oh, well, really? You don't really make it seem that way. And I'm glad that works out for you. But what may be magical for you may not be magical for me. Some people, when they drink a lot of alcohol, they get really excitable and crazy and are jumping off the freaking wall. Me, I get a little bit more bold, and then I go into that segment where I just fall dead freaking asleep. Nobody's gonna have the same experience as another person. And just like when you ask someone, hey, do you like this specific type of food? No, I don't like this specific type of food. It makes me feel sick, or I have an allergy to it, or whatever. And you back off, or you tell vegetarians or whoever, they've had that choice since they were kids or since whenever, that I don't want to do this because of such and such, and you respect their decision. Respect adults' decisions to not want to have fucking offspring. It is not your job to convert people to a stupid religion called having kids. Kids are not products, they are living beings. The woman's life is changed forever. The man's life is changed forever. The woman's body is changed forever. A lot of men start losing their hair when they have kids. I don't know what it is, but it's a life-changing decision, bringing another living, breathing thing from out of your body into this world and being responsible for it for most of its life. I don't want that. I know I don't want that. So will people please jump the fuck off when people say that they don't want kids Have a little bit of respect. We're not 6, we're not 4, we're not 10. It's not like you're gonna say to us, well, you're not fully developed, so you don't know what we want. We're adults in our 20s or even 30s or 40s or whatever the age is when people stop having children. And if adult people are saying that they do not want something, stop pressuring them to have it. Same way if a man says, I don't want to get married, and I always know I don't want to get married, don't be like, you'll change your mind. If people know they don't want something, you're not in their brain, you're not their master and Lord and Savior. Stop pressuring your own projections onto people. It's so annoying. Now, those are for strangers more so. As for parents, I understand why parents would do it. I understand. And my mom used to do this thing. It was so annoying. My mom used to do this thing. It was like, see how you kids make me talk so much? You make me stressed. You make me feel like I don't want to live. And I'm like, I understand that, Mom. That's why I don't want children. No, it's different. No. Now all of a sudden you want me to have children, but you kept selling that it was such a horrible thing, even though we're really good kids. The minute I say that, yeah, I'm not going to have children, or she's like, well, you'll know what it feels like when you have your own kids. Joke's on you, I'm not having my own kids. Then they're preaching at you and trying to win you over, like, I want a child from you, I need a child from you, like I'm some fucking breeding dog. That is annoying, but I do understand why family does it. It is a normal thing for parents to want that for their kids. Trust me, my mom and dad, all my family members are harassing me about it. My husband too, on his side, his dad wasn't really harassing him, but he gave him this long ass fucking lecture. And you might be right. When we're old, we have children to take care of us. What if the children die before we're that? What if the children live far away? The one thing I wouldn't want to do also is be a burden to my child. I would rather my children put me in a nursing home than to bring me in their house and them having to take care of me if I medically can't take care of myself. I would not want that for my children. So still, when your children get to a certain age and they don't want something, the worst thing you can do is pressure them into it. I understand why parents do it. Again, I say I understand why. It's an instinctive biological thing for grandparents to want grandkids so they can see that their genes are being produced. I get it, but after you have expressed your desire, back off a little bit. Stop with every single time you have a conversation with them, oh, are we gonna get babies? When are we gonna get babies? If you want a way to make people not have babies or to resent you for trying to make that decision for them, is to continue nagging them about it. And then you have these people that will have kids just to please their parents. And guess what? Their parents die and you're stuck with those kids that you didn't want. Oh God, I know. I'm very passionate and livid about this because I need to rant. It is something that I've dealt with for some time, and it's just like, even talking to strangers, like they feel as though, even though they've just met you, that they know more about you and your brain and your desires than you do. And that takes away the humanity from the person with whom you're speaking. You're 25 years old, but yet you don't know what you want. But if I had said out the door, oh, I want kids, nobody would ever contest and say, are you sure you want kids? Nobody ever says that. But why is it when we say the complete opposite, it's a horrible thing? Then the other thing is people are saying, oh, well, you're selfish. Yeah, bitch, I'm selfish. I know I want peace of mind and I want to ruin my life by taking on something I know I cannot do. I think it is more selfish to bring kids into the world just to please other people or to make you look good or just because you want them when you know you're not going to make a good parent or you neglect those children. The other thing is there are other things that humans can do to contribute to society. If we were living in like medieval times or in the times where we were nomads again, maybe things would be different. Maybe I would have a completely different viewpoint on offspring. But we don't live in that time, and people don't absolutely need to have children. There are other ways you can contribute to society. With my entertainment, with me talking to other people and helping other clients, that is how I'm contributing to society. If I have these gifts, and I have a lot of them, I can write, I can sing, I can do a lot of things that are considered artsy that touch other people's lives. If I had a kid, I would take away the time that I'm using to help a whole bunch of other people just so I can raise my child. Well, I can also leave legacies of my work to people who will be inspired to then touch other people or have children of their own and inspire their children. I don't need to have children to help the world. Sometimes, just saying, maybe it's better for people to have less kids. And I know that some people probably think that, oh, well, you sound like a feminist, or those radical people who are crazy and care more about their feelings. If you want to think that of me, fine. If you really knew who I was, you'd think the total opposite. A lot of feminists call me misogynist, but whatever. I do agree with them in one point that if you are not equipped to be having kids, a lot of the people that are saying they don't want kids and the kind of viewpoints they have, maybe it's the best thing that they could do for the world to not have kids. Just saying. Don't sleep on these people. Don't push these kinds of people to have kids. If somebody doesn't want to have kids, you shouldn't be questioning them if they're sure. If someone wants to have kids, I feel like more people should be questioning them if they're sure, because I feel like having kids is a way heavier and vital decision than not having them. You know, just saying. You could be raising the next serial killer if you don't know how to discipline your kid properly. You could be neglecting a child or growing someone up who is very damaged. It is more of a risk to raise kids than it is to not have them. Why don't you ask more people who want to have babies if they're sure that's the right choice for them? Why don't you do that? Because it's none of my business. Well, it's none of your business if someone says they don't want to have kids, especially if they're contributing to society, if they're opening up businesses, they're providing jobs for other people, if they're inspiring other people around them, if their work is their child. You got a husband and a wife who love each other, who both agree that they don't want kids, and they're both contributing to society. Leave them the fuck alone. I think I got it all out. I think that's all I have to say. I know that there are people with different viewpoints, and I'm not bashing anyone who wants to have kids, but that's the point. Nobody bashes people who want to have kids. You can have the most asshole people in the world, and they're gonna have a baby and everyone's excited, but you have a decent person over here who's choosing to not have children, and you scorn at them. There's something seriously fucked up with that equation. Anyways, that's all I gotta say for now. Whenever I have to rant about something else, you'll know.